I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome, Karen.
Hi.
Would you call the roll, please?
Dave Burrs,
Here.
J.R. Huddleston,
Here.
Bill Lukens,
Here.
Larry Pratt, Craig Romey,
Present.
Linda Marvell,
Here.
Melanie Wilson, Deborah Johnston.
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reminder, Council, if you have anything that conflict of interest and you shouldn't be voting on, please let the Council know. Need a motion to approve an amended agenda, and we have a number of amendments here. On claims, on page 6, current claims. The bill from Warren Chemical for $640. That's a duplicate payment, so that's being removed. So that will bring the new amount for current claims from $75,210.25 down to $74,570.25. Then under council updates, we're adding an update from Chief Norton about his interview process for hiring new officers. Under personnel, we'll be adding an item to hire one of those individuals that Chief Norton will talk with you about. It'll be Matthew Maxfield, full-time police officer, uncertified. Starting wage is $20.80 an hour. That's 80% top of scale, effective October 29th of 2022. And then the last item is to have an executive session per South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-3 legal. So we have an amendment to the current claims, council updates, personnel, and adding an executive session.
I make a motion to approve an amended agenda. Under current claims, minus $640, leaving that total at $74,570.25. Under council updates, adding Chief Norton for his update on hiring practice. Under personnel, adding item F, Matthew Maxfield, uncertified, $20.80 an hour, effective October 29, 2022, and adding executive session, SDCL 125-3-3, legal.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the October 3rd meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 3rd council meeting.
Second.
Did you get that one, Karen?
Yes, thank you.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Need a motion to approve the bills in between.
Make a motion to approve bills in between for $205,118.44.
Second.
Got that one, Karen?
Yes.
Apologize.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Then a motion to approve the amended current claims.
Make a motion to approve current claims for $74,570.25.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Brings us to communications from the public. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council?
Do we have the payments approval?
Didn't we? We did that.
Did we do that? Okay.
Yeah, bills in between and current
Oh,
claims?
okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Anyone from the public? All right. We'll go to our first council update. Public Works Engineer, Tracy.
Well, good evening, and we're another month into our road project, and there is progress. I know sometimes we wish it was going faster, but it is steady, and there is concrete being laid down. Looks like the 5th Street intersection will probably be in place by the end of the week. So maybe in about a week after that, we'll be able to use 5th Street again on that end of town. As far as things related to utilities, in the past month, the main thing that we were involved with week before last, there was a piece of history that, of course, pretty much no one knew about. What was apparently a rather long clay tile roof drain that crossed Albany Avenue there at Chicago Street, and it branched and went about 3/4 of a block to the north. There was evidence that some of those buildings on the east side of the road had it apparently at one time that their roof drains had probably connected into it, and then at this point there is a line that diagonals off towards Wells Fargo, which of course that's going under the side of the road that is still being driven on, and it goes a ways and stops. So we're assuming that it might have been at one time a roof drain for probably some building that I'm looking through pictures of Old Hot Springs. If I don't know what might have been on that corner many, many years ago.
There were 3 sandstones on that
Okay.
corner,
Okay.
2-story tall ones.
That was probably their roof drains.
Yeah.
So anyway, Department of Transportation wanted us to remove or crush and recompact where that pipe was at. So that was actually quite a project for us for several days. And of course, it was that week that we had the rain. So it was rather challenging, but we got it done. And the contractor did help us some. They kind of pitched in and, had their big equipment to help scrape that out. And we got in there, got it compacted, passed all the tests. And of course now the contractor is pretty much working on the storm sewers, finishing up mostly down here on this south end. I see they're starting to work on the area there where it connects in near Baltimore. They have storm sewer that they have to lay in on the west side of the road. And then, of course, when they tear up the other side of the road, they have storm sewer on that side, too. So there's a lot more storm sewer in that area yet to go. So it's just very work-intensive. The storm sewer boxes, placing them, it really is a lot of work for them. Utility-wise, we probably have a little bit of a lull in the action for a few weeks. The next thing on our horizon will be to replace the valves on the water line, like at the Baltimore and the Albany intersections there at South Chicago Street. But we can't actually do those until they switch the traffic over to the other side and tear up, and then tear up the side there. So we don't really know for sure how soon they'll be to that point, but it's not next week. That much I can assure you of. Otherwise, tentatively, they are hoping to begin the water main, sewer main replacement going from the Jennings intersection at North River Street. Start going north on that. There again, we find something out pretty much every Tuesday morning, at the contractor meeting, and then of course there's the public meeting afterwards. That's always down at the American Legion, and that is a way to get some updates, directly from the contractors as to what's going on. But that's their plan. They still plan to do the utilities going north on North River Street. Pretty much as soon as they're finished enough, with all this storm sewer work that they have. And of course, as I've expressed before, my concerns about that paper-thin water main on North River Street, the sooner they get that taken care of, the easier all of us that are involved with that thing are going to sleep at night. So that's pretty much the update. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
How far behind are they because of the rain?
Oh, and the question there would be which rain? Because they are saying they had about 20 days or so in the spring, give or take, of weather. That weather last, or week before last, it probably put them back 3 or 4 days. It got pretty wet. So that's part of it, but I know there's logistics and things that they just deal with that, projects always take a little longer than probably your best hopes, and then some days you have things that go really fast.
Thank you.
The last lost days that we had talked about were 77, and that's not, they work Monday through Friday. So that's, a 5-day work week. So divide the 77 by 5, and that's how many weeks should come out. And then, as you were asking, the most recent rains. When we talk about the project updates, I know the public is anxious, to hear how the project is going, and I'd like to keep you informed as much as we can. But it's tough pinning down where they're going to be when. A couple of weeks ago, they hoped that they would be working on North River Street, starting to tear that up. Obviously, they're not. So I think it's going to be more a matter of you folks will know where they're working when they start working there, because that'll be about the same time we know. But we're doing what we can to let you know as soon as we can where they're going to be. Any other questions for Tracy?
I was asked by somebody in my ward whether or not we are going to lay any more gravel down right there as you go down Boardwalk Hill.
Actually, the last thing I knew, we're still hoping to get that asphalted yet this year.
Yeah, but they were kind of wanting, because it's starting to pack a little bit, so
Yeah.
I imagine they were more worried about their car than anything else, really. So.
I
They
think
shouldn't be using that hill.
I tell everybody not to use the
Yeah.
hill, but they don't go down the hill, but they do come in front of my place and
make the
turn.
corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess there's probably a bump there that doesn't feel so good in their car, I guess. I haven't noticed it, but.
we're probably closer to our first snow when we close it off, and that will be it for the year.
Yeah.
We're not going to put asphalt down until we do the concrete work, are we?
We've been having a difficult time getting somebody to do the concrete work. We may have to. We may have to lay it with a little bit, a little extra where you'd saw cut it, and so we may have to do that. It's not not preferred, but that's possibly what we'll have to do.
I've seen on the road project a couple Saturdays that people were working.
They have been, yes.
Does it catch up?
Yep. Don't want to lose any days and have to start working Saturdays. That's what it comes down to.
Any other questions for Tracy? Thank you, Tracy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Tracy.
you.
Chief Norton. So before Chief Norton gets started, this morning I emailed council the resume for one of the folks that Chief Norton will be talking with you about. Plus I handed it out to you tonight so that you can follow along as he's talking, and then it will be available to you once we get into personnel actions. If you feel like you need more time, that's understandable, but we're certainly anxious to fill our department as quickly as you can. So, Chief Norton, you're up.
All right, so I guess the first exciting thing is that we got Justin in. You guys had approved his hire a while back, and then he hurt his knee. Last week he got cleared medically and called me, and we got him started effective last Tuesday, which is item number A there, or letter A. We've had Jeff set up an Indeed account for us for our openings, and we've gotten several applicants lately, a lot of uncertified guys, a lot of people from the East Coast who I think are just kind of shotgun blasting resumes out to anybody and everybody who's hiring. But I reach out to every one of them. I have it set up in my email, and I check my email all day, every day, and the second that I get a resume or I get an application, I pull up their resume, I find their phone number, and I contact them just to see how serious they are about it, because like Bob said, I want to get us fully staffed, and I don't care where they come from. If they want to come to Hot Springs and they fit what we're trying to do here, then we'll take a run at them. We had 2 interviews last week, 2 uncertified guys, one younger guy, 22 years old, kind of didn't know what he wanted to do with his life, was going to college, and made the transition to law enforcement, said that's, made the decision, that's what he wanted to do with his life. So he actually got hired as a jailer because he thought that would be the most appropriate first step to getting into law enforcement. And then he saw our Indeed listing, and he applied. I reached out to him, and he came down for an interview on Thursday. Captain Shively and I administered that interview over the phone, actually. We didn't meet him face-to-face, and we had a little conference afterwards, and we decided that we wanted to talk to him again, so I had him down here on Friday, where we met him face-to-face, had a couple more questions for him, had a couple more guys from the department come in and include themselves on that interview as well, and the consensus was that we were extremely excited about this young man. Although uncertified, he's young. He's shown that this is the career he wants to pursue. Offered him the position. I called Bob immediately to see if we could get him on the agenda for today, because I think he's dialed in enough, and I think he'd be sought after if he applied anywhere else. So I wanted to get him hired as quickly as we could. And just something to mention about him. We offered him the position Friday, and I called him this morning, and he's already found a place to live. He's moving down here. I mean, he's showing a lot of initiative, and it just makes me even more excited about getting him down here.
That's amazing. You found a place to live.
Yep. He's and where we're at currently with our staffing, with getting Justin and Ken hired, those 2 certified guys with the experience that they have, we're in a position where we can bring this guy along and take our time with him. We've had instances where we've had to hire guys and kind of get them out the door and get them working. And I'm really excited about Matt, and that he's going to have an opportunity to be field trained properly and not get thrown to the wolves, more or less. And I think it's going to make him more comfortable. It'll make us more comfortable, and he's going to be a better officer for it. So I would ask that you seriously consider him when that item comes up. And I guess just an update for me on how I'm going about the hiring process, and that's just like I said earlier. If they show interest, I'm going to show interest. I'm not going to push anybody's application to the wayside because of where they're at in the world. I try to be as transparent with them about our pay, our contract, our benefits, everything like that. So, and both these gentlemen that we interviewed last week are fully aware of everything that we have to offer, and that fortunately we don't in some aspects, and they're both still really excited about interviewing with us. And we considered a second interview for the other guy that we had in on Friday, but we haven't scheduled that yet, and I got another certified application over the weekend as well. So I've been in contact with him yesterday and today as well, so.
So we have one more position open?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's something else I completely glossed over. We lost a guy. Officer Allen did put in his notice at the end of last week. I let them know about it, so I'm sure that'll be on your agenda, be on the agenda for the next go-around, but we're replacing one with one. I got academy date for November. I was really excited about and told the officer, hey, we got you a spot, and he wasn't, I just don't think he was quite ready to make the commitment to living here and being tied to our department for 2 years, unfortunately. So I thank him for letting us know that now.
Yes.
So it's not a battle we have to deal with.
Yes.
6 months down the road, it sucks, but, we'll be
I have
all right.
a question for you that was asked to me.
Yes, sir.
I have a retired officer, and they wanted to know, they're from out of state. They was wondering, do we put out a informative booklet or a pamphlet or something like that, kind of tells about town, what businesses are here and so forth?
I guess I don't know. Maybe the chamber, does the chamber do something like that?
I don't know. I was kind of surprised with the question too.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know. I would think that maybe the chamber has our local businesses and attractions and all that good stuff, but outside of that, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, the chamber does have a packet that they do send out if they're asked to.
Okay.
They will mail a whole packet of stuff.
All right. Yeah, I never thought of that myself, to be honest with you, yes, but it does make sense. It does make sense.
So, I mean, where we currently stand is we're losing Ed, but we're gaining Matt, hopefully, depending on your vote. And then, so we'll be at 7. We'll still have that other position, that 8th position still available that we're getting applicants for. I can't complain about that. Just trying to be patient and pick the right one.
What's our, I know the answer to this, but for the rest of the council, our academy availability?
Well, I had 2 spots in November available. I mean, theoretically, we could send Matthew in November, but I don't want to do that. I want to get him here and have him work for a few months before we send him, make sure that everything's a mend with us and him, and he likes the town, and we don't kind of have another similar situation. So I do have 2 spots available in March as well. Okay. So theoretically, we could send 1 in March or 2 in March if we have the staffing for it, but we have 2 spots available in March. So
great, thank you.
You bet.
So our officer that's in school now will graduate next month?
Yep, the whatever that Friday is, the 18th or the 19th of November. She was actually given an accommodation last week, a Blue Courage coin. She got recognized by the class. She's doing really well.
Good.
So we're really excited to get her back. And that's another thing, in November, we gain another officer. And we'll have this young man hopefully on our staff, and we'll be sitting with 7 guys working on the road and not be down because of the academy or anything for a few months through the holidays and stuff.
You might get some sleep.
What's that?
You might get some sleep there.
It's been better. I can't deny that. When we got Justin and Ken on board, it slowed things down for Captain Shively and I significantly. So I'm very happy about that.
I'm proud to say that we kept it all in-house too.
Yep. So that's really all I've got as far as an update. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything I can.
Any other questions?
I don't have any.
I do have one.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
I do have one, and we talked a little bit about it today. The question had been put to council prior to you being hired as chief of police, about uncertified. Why do we keep hiring uncertified officers? And I just wanted to give you an opportunity to, give your take on why there are those occasions where an uncertified officer is the right fit.
Yeah. I mean, I can, with this particular guy, with Matthew, it would have been hard for me to pick anybody other than him. I mean, he's 22 years old, being a cop's what he wants to do, and there could have been a certified guy with experience and knowledge that this kid doesn't possess, but he hit the nail on the head when we interviewed him. I mean, I think I used this term with Bob today, is sometimes when you interview somebody, you just get that feeling. You just get that guy's dialed in. I want to work with him. I want him to be here. And sometimes you don't. And we've had people that we've interviewed who are certified that you question whether they'd be a fit, if they'd mend well with your current department or with what we're trying to do here. And then you got this young kid who's uncertified that meets all the criteria, checks all the boxes of what you want, and I would take him every time over the certified guy.
And to be very honest, sometimes you can hire somebody with a lot of experience, but they also come with a lot of baggage.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that saves you a big headache.
Some people have like you said, baggage, bad habits. They got to break them. A young guy with no experience, you can train them how you want them. And we got these 2 awesome FTO officers who I'm really excited about getting this guy in a car with and
Good.
building us another officer. So
Cool.
Sometimes training is easier than retraining.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Yep.
Good.
Well,
Thank you very much.
for
Thank you.
everything you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, so that takes us to personnel actions. Again, remembering that we added personnel item F for Matthew Maxfield. Full-time police officer, uncertified, $20.80 per hour to start, that's 80% top of scale, to be effective 10/29. And you have his resume in front of you. So if I could get a motion to approve personnel actions A through F.
I make a motion to approve personnel actions A through F.
Second.
Sorry about that.
Let's take JR on this one.
Hey, I got like 5 months I got to make up here.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. So congratulations, give him a call. We'll be looking forward to him coming on board with us.
You're on.
Thank you.
Takes us to new business items. New business item A, a possible motion discussion to approve a plat of Robbins Tract West.
I'll make a motion to approve a plat of Robbins Tract West and Robbins Tract East of Goddard Addition, City of Hot Springs, Fall River County, South Dakota.
Second.
Discussion.
This looks very similar to what we did last meeting, or is my eye off?
I wouldn't disagree that it's similar. Are you questioning whether it's the exact same one?
Yeah.
I wasn't here.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I think so.
I was trying to find a difference, and it looked like I don't know if I didn't look at it closely enough, but
Well, it reads a little bit different.
Okay.
The last
If I
meeting
just
minutes
didn't-
have formally Lot 1 and Lot 2 of Tract LK. I don't know if it makes it different.
Okay, I just didn't read it closely
It
enough.
could be
Thank you,
the same.
Karen. It's probably one lot or section down, and it's still being trimmed out in a very similar way as the one we approved last time. So, okay, thank you. Sorry for adding any unnecessary confusion.
JR is looking at the minutes from the last council meeting, and as Karen said, it's worded differently. Any other questions?
I think it's the same.
Think it is or don't think it is?
No. I'm not sure without the other one, but I think it looks the same to me. But won't hurt if we double approve it. I approved it last time, so.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item B, a possible motion discussion to schedule a public hearing.
I make a motion to schedule a public hearing on 11/7/22 at 7:10 PM to act on the special sale alcoholic beverage license application from the Boys and Girls Club of Hot Springs for the Wreath and Wine annual fundraiser event scheduled for 11/12/22, beginning at 5 PM at the Mueller Civic Center at 801 South 6th Street.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item C, a possible motion discussion to approve an automatic budget supplement.
Make the motion to, make the motion to approve the automatic budget supplement of $24,795.03 to a water fund improvements other than building. Number 602-43-350-43-300 and $7,637.97 to the wastewater fund improvements other than building. 604-43-250-43-300 for the sewer and water main replacement project. Grant reimbursement received from CDBG grant number 1919-107-04.
Second.
Discussion. So these are reimbursements we get from the Community Development Block Grant for the water sewer project. We have to spend the money, submit the cost, and then we get reimbursed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. New business item D, possible motion discussion to authorize the mayor to prepare and release an RFP.
Make the motion to authorize the mayor to prepare and release an RFP for the formal bid I-8W SDCL number, it's hard to read that with my glasses, 5-18A-14 for roof repairs at designated buildings under the insurance claim.
Second.
Discussion. So I handed out to you a list of the locations that the city submitted for repairs from the last hailstorm that we had. I would ask you to not share any of the information specific to costs. We certainly don't want prospective bidders to know what the insurance companies are saying. They're willing to give for those repairs. But the list you're looking at, Jeff and Larry went out and took a look at all of these buildings. Larry has had some professional experience with roof repairs and roof replacements, so we asked him to help us out with it. And you can see the buildings and the ones that they're recommending that we have work done to. So the motion in front of you is to approve these recommendations from Larry and Jeff about the buildings that, for the buildings that would actually have their roofs redone. The others, we would keep the insurance payments. And like any insurance claim, if we don't have the repair done, and then there's future damages, the amount that they're authorizing for repair this time would be reduced from future repair cost. Give you a chance to look that over. If you want to table it, you can amend the motion. The significant ones here are the library. Councils have been struggling with getting that library roof replaced for quite a while. The loading on the structure is more than it really needs to be. So the money for the damages to the library, feel very comfortable that we would be able to get that roof completely repaired, which would mean taking the cement shingles off and putting some other type of product on there. The other big one, again, previous councils will remember that we've approved funding to replace the roof here on the Miller Center, and then we run into other repairs that need to be done at the Miller Center, so those repairs get done, and the Miller Center roof always gets pushed to the back. This claim would also allow us to get the roof on the Miller Center taken care of, so those are our two big ones. And then there's additional work here that is being recommended. So at this point, all you would be approving is to go out with a request for proposal to get bids, identify what buildings we want repaired, then bring that information back to Public Works, open those bids at Public Works, and then make a recommendation to council for a final repair.
I really think we need to get this going. As it is, people are having problems and being pushed all the way back till next spring as far as work going on here in town. So it might be to our best interest to try to get this out right away so we get on their schedule this coming year.
Yeah. And Jeff did talk with different department heads that are responsible for these buildings.
A couple on here I didn't go look at. Forgot about the water stuff.
Are other ones not being included just because it's mostly cosmetic? Or, I guess that's a discussion for Public Works Committee?
That's a question that I'd hoped either Jeff or Larry would be able to identify to you tonight. Both of them are unable to be with us tonight. But that's my understanding of the conversations, that most of the other work is cosmetic. It's not structural. There isn't any leaking or anything like that that's going on with it. It's dents in a roof that don't structurally affect it.
Okay.
I'd sure like to go over this in Public Works. I have a few questions about the middle row and some other stuff.
About the amounts?
Well, about
Numbers.
some of them are pretty expensive. Some's almost as high as ones that's getting worked on, so there's got to be a significant amount of damage.
I'll stand by if you want to table it.
Do you remember, I built for a living too, so I know roofs. I don't want to go look at them, but I mean, I can tell here by the prices that there's got to be some damage to them that I'd just like to know more.
I guess in my eyes, what we have identified on this sheet, the mayor could go out for an RFP for those. Should we decide there are additional ones that need to be addressed, we can sure ask the mayor to go back out with another RFP for those other additional areas.
It would be good for Larry to come that meeting, so any questions, him and Tracy's always there, but.
So I'm saying we go forward with an RFP for the ones identified, and then if we need to, go again.
I'm good with that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any unmanageable delay. You folks meet next week, and then be the week after that it could be back in front of council.
Yep. But I do have to agree, we do need to move along with this.
Yeah.
Get on the schedule.
Late in the year. Yep.
We can get on the schedule. They don't know what we need yet. They have to come look.
But we can get some of
We
our,
can talk about this next week, and
Yep.
we can contact anybody right away. If we want to add to it, fine. If we don't, fine too, but.
but yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to have Larry come.
So we have a motion to approve the list. Whoever made the motion, Karen,
Burris
Dave,
motioned, and then Romy.
are you willing to amend your motion to table this for further discussion at Public Works?
You really want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll amend my motion To table this, yes. Do you want me to go through the whole thing? But yes, I am okay with amending my motion to table till next meeting.
To table a discussion and send it back to Public Works recommendation.
Yep, that way, we're things done by next meeting.
All right.
Good with that?
Yeah, this never did come to public works.
No,
to begin with.
I didn't see it. But I do have some other paperwork access.
To Dave's point about, getting on the list with everybody that's doing roof work, that was Jeff's concern with getting something in front of you and getting it approved, is that we don't end up at the tail of the list.
And that was exactly what I was getting at. The 5 identified here. Get an RFP for those 5. If we need another RFP or decided we need another RFP, then go forward with it after. But I think we need to get the ball going.
Where do we come with the emergence of both thoughts? What do you want to do, Craig?
I have no problem doing what Johnny Ray said with the 5 that we know we're gonna have fixed. Then go over the rest of them and we can come back with that.
With a secondary list, if needed.
Yeah.
I'd rather go out with one list rather than send one out now and then a week later we come out with an amended one. And I'd just rather get a full list to the folks that are going to be bidding on it.
Okay. Then,
We can still contact the company and tell them that we're gonna need work done. Get on the list.
Well, they just need to know how
They're
many
gonna ask
jobs
too
they
many
have
questions.
to do, though.
that we don't have info for them. I'd rather have all our ducks in a row when we do this. And I think you're correct, it's a better way to do it with one list, but.
All right, so we have a motion. The maker of the motion amended it. We don't have a second for the amendment.
Second.
Who seconded the first one?
Craig.
Craig? Okay. All right. So the new motion in front of you is to table the discussion to authorize the mayor to prepare and release an RFP and send it back to Public Works for their recommendations. Everyone okay?
Everybody good with that?
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Did you get that, Karen?
Yes.
All right. So the motion passes. Takes us to committee reports. Admin and Finance, JR?
The next admin and finance will be November 7th, 1 p.m. here at the Mueller Civic Center.
Thank you. Airport Advisory, Bill?
Airport Advisory met on Thursday, October 6th, 8:30 a.m. at the airport. Members present were Shane Miller, Don Connor, Joyce Boxbaum sat in for her husband, Mark. Employees present were Rick Breitenbach and Tracy Bastian. Elected officials were myself. Guests present were Charlie Baker from KLJ Engineering and Gary Telkamp. There were no communications from the public. T-hanger project update. The alternate foundation design is being reviewed by KLJ Structural Group. Liquidated damages are being assessed by KLJ and started September 1st. Monthly fuel sales for September were 3,871 gallons. Fly-in sales accounted for about 1,500 gallons. There were 46 planes that participated in the fly-in. Monthly flight operations for September were 212 flight operations, and that did not include any of the fly-in activity. There were 11 balloon launches and 2 landings. Guess there's 9 still out there somewhere. Balloon humor. Under old business, regarding the T-hanger lease agreements and deposits, it's suggested that the deposits be a non-refundable first month rent that would not be refunded if the hangar is not leased. Under new business, the city door hanger maintenance, the hydraulic actuator has an issue that allows the door to drop about a foot or two per day. They're looking at troubleshooting the issue. The cost to troubleshoot that will be about $500. The airport manager will come to council with a repair proposal once a scope and a cost estimate is determined. We discussed fuel price. There was some support to lower the price to $5.85 a gallon, but it was agreed that we need to wait and see what happens to fuel prices based on recent OPEC announcements and the upcoming elections. Subsequent to the meeting, we did find that wholesale fuel prices have started to increase, so we're going to just leave the price at $6.35 a gallon. Under items from the members, the airport manager is assisting High Country Erectors in completing the documentation required by the FAA regarding the buildings on the north end of the airport property. And the airport manager noted the assistance he's received from the maintenance department and the golf course manager on several maintenance issues at the airport. And the seat program has been completed for the year. Our next meeting will be Thursday, November 3rd at 8:30 a.m. Meeting adjourned at 10 a.m.
Any questions for Bill?
I got a quick one. That sign, is the city gonna take that sign down that's out there?
I have no current knowledge on that. I don't know
It's on the auction,
I know it's on the auction. I don't know who's going to pull that down, Craig.
and it goes through the roof of the building.
Yeah. So it should not be the,
People that buy it.
yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Larry's not with us for the Custer Fall River Regional Waste Management. Historic Preservation, Deborah?
Historic Preservation met October 5th, 5 p.m. at the Mueller Center. Present were Steve Wienia, Mike Summer, Joe Mueller, and Pat Like. There was no news to report on 243 North River Street. 112 North Chicago Street, Scott spoke to Mr. Whitney by phone and discussed the front of his building. He's got a new siding on that and facade. The underside of the structural awning will be exposed and the brackets are being built with this in mind. Pat and Steve had also spoke to Mr. Whitney in person and inquired about his use of materials, since what he has done is not what he presented to the HPC on a certificate of appropriateness. This leaves us in the situation that seems to happen all too frequently. There is a protocol that was followed in this case, but not adhered to. Other times, the protocol is not followed from the start. What is the recourse of the HPC is in question. And then discussion items, notes from the meeting with Ted Spencer from the State Historic Preservation Office were discussed, and web links related to historic preservation and their place on the new city webpage were discussed. Members are to look and bring other links to the next meeting if appropriate. The meeting adjourned at 5:40. The next one will be Wednesday, November 2nd at 5 p.m. here at the Mueller Center.
Any questions for Deborah? You were talking about what the group expected to have happen versus what the building owner agreed to do.
Or did.
What's the thoughts within the group itself?
I wasn't in on the discussion, so I'm not sure how deep that discussion went. I wasn't here.
Okay.
As far as authority, you mean what they?
Right, what authority and what, Scott was in on all that, so maybe you should have a discussion with him.
Okay.
So how many violations for what he agreed to what he did?
I'm not sure.
And which property was that, Deborah?
That's 112 North Chicago, Stan Nace's old building next to the post office.
I know there was some discussion that he had with the state about the awning and whether it met their requirements. Hey, Mike?
If I may address that, the drawing that he provided had his siding running the other direction, and the front awning has changed. Lighting, I think, is different than what he had proposed and what we voted on. So it happens when the building owner does something different than we as a group had voted on. So then what can we say or do? That's where we're coming to when people want to paint something, whether it's a color that we don't want to approve colors. We say, hey, just do whatever will blend in. And unfortunately, this does not blend. It's pretty loud, right next to a brick building. Two brick buildings, or a brick and a sandstone. But that's always the looming question at a meeting, is what's the recourse for us as a group, and is there?
Now, don't they sign a contract stating that they're going to work with you?
There really is nothing. They're encouraged to show up at the meeting when their certificate is presented and explain what they're going to do to go along with their application, because there may be notes on the app that we don't understand. And then we discuss it, and usually it's never been a case of, well, no, you can't do that. We'll toss out suggestions if there's something different, or something that we as a group will feel, well, that may not, blend is the word I'm going to keep using, with the structures around you. So is there something else that you could come up with that will help satisfy that? But ultimately, it's their building. I mean, they can paint it pink and have strobe lights on the front if they want. So it just kind of puts us in a position of, what do we do as a committee? We don't have any authority to force anybody to change anything so it fits in with their surrounding buildings. And then there are folks that totally bypass that whole process. And so we sit there as a group sometimes saying, how do we as historic preservation have more of a presence?
More of a bite, let's just say it that way.
Can any of that
What
be addressed in the
enforcement?
ordinance that you're working on?
We would have to probably get some input from folks at the State Historic Office to see if there is any recourse as a group that we can go to the building owner with. But legally, I don't think there's anything we can do.
If you don't have a contract with them by any means, I don't see where you'd ever get any teeth.
And that's what that certificate is for. I don't know if that's binding to anything, because there's no law that says you can't put steel siding, galvanized steel siding on your historic wooden building downtown. So,
And no financial help was given to them?
no. So that's just an example of some of the things that we come up against as a group. And I don't know that there's any kind of recourse that we can have but other than make it known.
Probably not a fair question because it's a hindsight question in a sense, but what they did to it, had they presented it to you that way from the beginning, is it something that you probably would have endorsed, or would you have still recommended, go a different way to be consistent with the other buildings?
The latter. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just for a similar look. Right next to it is brick, so it's a wooden structure, so it will never look like that. But some different things could have been done with a type of siding, I suppose, or a wainscot. I think it was supposed to be a wainscot, actually. So.
Okay.
It's just going to be one of those things.
Now, I'm very ignorant when it comes to how your program works, but how many are in that give the recommendations? Is that part of other groups or other building owners also that went through the same process, or is it just picked or elected?
As far as it within the group?
Yeah.
It's the members that are part of the committee that vote on it.
Okay.
The mayor has chosen all of the members.
Okay.
By appointment. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And council does approve those positions, but it's someone who has a historic background and understanding of the architecture and
Yeah.
the look and the feel.
If I remember correctly, when we initially were looking at his original plans, he had a picture of the building from way back historically, and it did have galvanized steel up above. I think that's why we approved that part of the design, because historically it was a galvanized sided building.
But it doesn't sound like you've had a conversation with him since. Is that
He
correct?
was, actually, he came to a meeting, he was present at a council meeting, and then submitted his certificate, but was not at the HPC meeting. So we went off his drawing and his certificate application, and had, I believe there were questions, because his drawing was there, and his explanations, but that's kind of where it stopped. I don't think anything was denied, but we as a group just had questions, and then it just turned out different than what he had applied for.
I looked at the building today and it's sad. When he had it stripped down, the woodworking that's at the top of the building is really cool. The pillars up there, they had fancy wood carving stuff. You covered that up? I just don't understand how people do that.
I didn't see it.
Didn't you? It's neat.
So, and that's some of the things we come up against is to preserve some of that as much as possible, but ultimately have to respect that it's somebody else's building, and they will still do with it as they like.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a fine line.
Is there any direction that like the State Historical Society can give you, or have you inquired about that yet? You don't see anything with your experience that we could help you in the future for problems like this?
Just open communication, really. And that's part of the links on the website, the new city site, to help those folks that come and purchase one of these buildings, whether it's a sandstone or a wooden structure or brick, and they want to make changes, put their own stamp on it, and we encourage them to do so, but to try to retain portions of the original structure if possible, because of our historic district.
You're going to have a headache for a while.
Probably.
All right, so I took Deborah's suggestion and noted the location, and I'll talk with Scott and
Very good.
see if the business owner, talk with him about the changes through the process. Try to figure something out.
Just shedding light.
Thanks a lot for coming up.
Mike, what's your last name?
Summer?
Summer, SLMMER.
Any other questions for Deborah? Thank you, Deborah. Evans Plunge, Linda?
Okay, the Evans Plunge met October 13th at noon. Present were Linda Barvell, Chris Hansen, Kathy Wren, Okoye Zimiga, Dennis Fisher, Tom Nas, Allison Ritterbush. Absent were Mara Smith and Barry McNair. We discussed corporate discounts to add families. After discussion, it was agreed to offer corporate discounts of 20% to local businesses and family members. This will be a payroll deduction only. The committee agreed to offer this. Financial comparisons for the years of 2019 through 2022 were as followed for the time period of January 1st of 22 through October 10th of 22 was $617,028. The same time period in 21, it was $621,991.11. Same time period in 20 was, I think I added too many there. Was $322,412.87. In 2019, it was $595,199.70. October is being a membership drive month. Active memberships for 2021 was 1,230. In 2022, it increased to 1,328. The Overlook floor update, Diamond D of Rapid City completed the floor on 10/12/22. It has a lifetime warranty. Next, we will be looking at designs to replace the cage-like effect of the observation area. The review of monthly saves, there were no saves to report for the previous month. A prior lifeguard returned to the facility, and we are planning to hold certification training classes at the end of October. Other information, Hot Springs High School is pushing for internships and apprenticeships, allowing each participating student a 2-hour block per day. The swim team is up and running with 16 students in the senior group. Allison noticed that new roping is needed throughout the pool area. The next meeting is November 10th, 2022, noon at the Evans Plunge, and we adjourned at 12:26 p.m.
Any questions for Linda?
Just one. Are the coaches for the swim team?
I asked Allison if she had any assistant, and she's going it alone. So I kind of questioned the 16-to-1 ratio, but these are older, teenage students. They're not the little kids.
14 and up or
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm. She said that there was several parents that offered to help her, but then when she got a hold of them and told them what was required of them, nobody showed up.
Okay, we'll talk.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone else? I would like you to look at how you identify saves and no saves. When you say there was no saves, it's almost like suggesting we had 5 rescues and nobody.
No,
we didn't save anybody. So if we could find a different way to present that information.
Well, maybe I should say rescue instead of saves.
Yeah.
But that's how they present it down there but it's actually, they had no near misses, they had
There
no
you go.
rescues.
Well, again, when you say no rescues, it's suggesting they had a need for one, but we just didn't do it. So I would ask them to look at a
Nobody-
different way of.
Nobody was in need of rescue.
Yeah. The lifeguards on duty were very attentive, so they didn't have any situations.
Kick it around with Chris.
Okay.
I've thought about saying something other times, and I went,
Oh.
but it's just, every time here, we had no saves.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
how many attempts did we have that we resulted in no saves? So,
We used to write it on reports. We used to call it a no, had it in my head and it just disappeared. But it was basically no duress with swimmers for the,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Or no need for emergency intervention or something.
Just
Yeah.
change that.
Coast
Yeah.
Guard reports, that's what you put, no swimmers under duress.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Linda. Parks and Recreation, Larry's not here. Planning and Zoning, Deborah?
Planning and zoning meets, when does it meet?
The 19th?
I got the next one, but I didn't have this coming one. This is October. They meet this Wednesday, the 19th, 7 PM at City Hall. It'll be the last time they do the 7 PM. They'll be switching to 6 PM in November. So this month is the 19th at 7 PM City Hall.
Great. Thank you. Public Safety, Bill, JR?
Okay, Public Safety met October 6th, 2 PM here at the Mueller Center. Elected officials present were myself, JR, Larry. Also present were Chief Norton, Emergency Manager Frank Maynard. We had 14 members of the public present.
Wow.
We adopted the published agenda. Communications from the public. Hal Glanville reported that the Brookside will be installing a stop sign at the exit from their parking lot onto South River Street. We also had a resident ask if the 1-hour parking signs on the west side of the alley between the Brookside and the Vision Source could be removed, as there's very little compliance with those signs now. Also had a member of the public present to ask about the progress regarding the parking at the school, and Chief Norton took an action to look into additional enforcement, and JR was going to look into the status of getting the yellow curbs painting extended there. Update from the police department. In August, there were a total of 601 calls, 66 of which were high-risk calls. In September, there was 418 calls, 58 of which were high-risk calls. As Chief Norton told us, Justin Richardson started on October 11th. And also at that time, at the time of the meeting, we had 4 applications received for at that time, the final open position for the officer, and the new car has been procured. Under old business, the ICS 402 training for elected officials, we're still waiting to schedule that training, waiting on instructor availability in order to schedule that training. The house numbering project, the data gathering form has been reviewed with and forwarded to the Scout Leadership Group. No update on the fuels reduction grant. The emergency manager is, however, finishing the Community Wildfire Protection Plan grant application. Once that plan has been updated, additional mitigation funds should be available. As a committee, we reviewed the requested personnel policy revision. The committee discussed and agreed with the policy revision, providing that procedural controls are put in place by the police department and complied with by the affected departmental employees. Regarding discussion with regarding countywide law enforcement, 14 members of the public were present to discuss countywide law enforcement. 8 were city residents and 6 were county residents. 2 of the county residents were business owners within the city of Hot Springs. These discussions took place at 3 times between 2:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. In each case, the basic question was, why is the city considering this? Concerns were focused around staffing levels, deputy familiarity with the city and its residents, and response times in the county. A brief overview was provided that included the process in place by the Joint City-County Working Group and the general cost of service and level of service now in place. Overall, the members of the public were appreciative of the exchange, but in all cases support the city maintaining its own police department. The next meeting will be Thursday, November 3rd at 2 p.m. at the Mueller Center Conference Room. And again, some of the members will remain there until 6 p.m. to accommodate members of the public that would like to express their concerns or ask questions about countywide law enforcement but can't attend the normal meeting. The meeting adjourned at 6 p.m.
JR, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I did do follow-up, but I'll report that on the next safety meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions for Bill or JR?
I have a question. Did the one vehicle that we got from Florida, did that get sent back or?
That's still being worked.
Okay.
So to respond to Bill's comment that the public is asking why we're having this discussion, I had mentioned, I think, a couple of meetings ago that we're having the discussion because the county commissioners asked if the city would consider countywide law enforcement agreement. I was asked by Joe Falkenberg if we would entertain those conversations. Anybody that's been around Hot Springs for any length of time knows that it's been talked about casually. Someone says, well, we ought to go to countywide law enforcement. Other folks say we shouldn't. But I'm not aware that there was any formal conversations to sit down and actually talk about what that would look like and try to get that figured out and get it presented to the public so that they can provide their input of why they which way they want to go. So I've been the one that, along with Joe, pushing this discussion to actually have a serious discussion about it and see what the right fit is and provide that information to the residents of Hot Springs so they can say they're on board with it or they're not on board with it. But it's because the county commissioners asked us to have the discussion. And I think it's long overdue for having a formal discussion about it. That's why we're doing that. We're not rushing it. All right, Public Works, Dave, Craig?
October the 4th at 1 p.m., Public Works meeting was here at the Mueller Center. Those in attendance were myself, Craig Romey, and Tracy Baster. No citizens came to the meeting, just us three. The Bear Avenue light on newer business was handed off at that time to Black Hills Power to see if that's where we're going with it. Without Jeff being here, I don't know if we've got any more information since then. The Bear Avenue propane tank. I drove by it. I believe Craig drove by it. Jeff's drove by it. We don't see a problem there, but if the homeowner has a feeling that he needs more safety around that propane tank, he could either put up some pipes or barriers or something that would be under their decision making. We did add another item, Mueller Center soccer field here in the back. Tracy was asked about a new sprinkler system or repair. We are investigating the old lines that are in there now to see if we can add to that, update that. see if the water lines are large enough to do a new sprinkler system without major investment. So we're just waiting on some more information on that part. Street and maintenance, trimming trees in the alleys and stuff, that is just gonna be happening when we have time and we have manpower. Boardwalk Hill will be closed till further notice, and we're right on the beginning of winter, if you ask me. But it'll be closed once we start getting snowfall anyway. So, but that is something we're still looking into and trying to get that figured out. Let's see. Icy spot at Vision Source. I do believe now that they're getting pretty darn close to that area. The project, our street project. So that should be kind of fixed and merged together, but we will wait for more information from Tracy. We discussed ADA ramp near the Massa Dental. That is kind of in the works, but we haven't gotten everything finalized. ADA access also will be added to the north end of Centennial Park. There again, we're back at time and manpower. Irrigation depot building two park areas being placed, irrigation around the depot. We're getting more information on that. Let's see. Wastewater treatment plant improvement updates at that time. Lid and column were being worked on. And we added another 2 utilities, and that would be number 4. And what that was is we had a water bill, a gentleman, I guess the family wasn't staying there, but they were using basically a 4-person household's worth of water, and they are wanting some help with that. So we're getting, Tracy was going to look into that a little bit more. But out of the office, we need to know what its background was, is how much water is being used on a normal basis. The community garden update that we got is about done for the year, and we did very well as far as participants, and we'll probably be looking for some more property here in the community for that to grow. Dollar General, they have a issue with the road and some cement that was laid that was not properly prepped, and they're trying to get that done as soon as possible, but they're having the same problem that the city is, finding somebody to actually do the cement work. So that's still an ongoing thing. And our meeting was done, means there was hardly anybody there at 1:45. Craig, would you like to add anything?
Yes. On the soccer field, there's an 1.5-inch line that feeds the field now from the Mueller Center. And they're talking about a 3-inch line. The only way they can do that is if we turn into the street and run it clear down there. And that'd be awful expensive.
It's going to be spent.
Tracy says if they just water it more often, the sprinkler system they have now is adequate for what they need.
He was going to take a look at what was...
They said the problem with that is the dirt's garbage.
Yeah, and I have to concur on that.
Fill that, I mean, it just wasn't good dirt.
It was just all fill, basically. No topsoil was ever really added into that.
And that water leak they're talking about is under the driveway.
Yep.
So it never came up. It just evidently got in the rock system and kept running, but.
Could they set up a plan for building up the soil by, like,
Oh, yeah,
this time of the year, putting a compost over the whole field, or
We could, go ahead.
that type of deal?
The golf course manager's gonna help with it. The school's doing almost all of it. Because, you know, right now we can't do things like that, so.
Right.
One thing, we don't have the funds from Parks Department to do it. The school's the one that wants to upgrade the soccer field, so they're gonna put the money into it.
But yeah, the city has a lot of stuff around at the MRF that we can use to actually bulk up that soil, and that's about the best way at this point.
Any other questions for Dave and Craig?
Dave, when's the next meeting?
Beans, I'm working off an old sheet. I don't, do you have it?
No.
Just a minute.
It'll be next Tuesday.
The 25th?
The 25th.
Okay,
1 o'clock?
good thing you guys figured it out, 'cause
Center.
I was gonna say the 23rd.
Hopefully more people show up.
Yeah,
A couple things, the icy spot that Dave was talking about, that's by Vision Source, that will be part of the road reconstruction, and there's also a section on the east side, the west side of Baltimore Avenue that will get taken care of. The ADA accommodations that Dave was talking about at Massa and Centennial Park, again, it comes down to finding somebody to do cement work, and we haven't been able to find any contractors. It's the reason that the top of Boardwalk Hill, Albany Avenue, hasn't had anything done to it. And Craig was talking about the sidewalk and the curb and gutter up there before we put the asphalt down. Curb and gutter and sidewalk needs to go in before the asphalt's down. But we just can't find anybody to do the concrete work.
and that is the most optimum way of getting it done.
And the city can do the work by Massa and Centennial. It's just a matter of fitting it into their schedule, and emergencies, sewer and water, and other emergencies within the city are their number one priority. I'll call that the 1A priority. The 1B priority, just equally as important, is making sure that we don't do anything to delay the road reconstruction project. So that's where their majority of their time is spent. So there's going to be some of these things that will drop further down the list before we actually get them accomplished. Jeff's not here for golf course. He's not here for city administrator. Misty is not with us tonight. And I don't have a mayor's report for you to speed things along, which then brings us to executive session. So if I could get a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion, we go into executive session in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-3 legal.
Second?
Dave was the second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes, and there won't be any action that will be taken after executive session. Garland's headed that way. Karen, ideally, we won't take very long, but we won't need to have you join us. Excuse me. All right. You got when we came out of executive session?
8:44?
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Have a good evening, everyone.
Who seconded the adjournment? JR, okay.